Welcome to another TechHelp Quick Queries video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. Welcome to number 19. Can't believe we've done 19 of these already. These are quick answers. I can't talk today. Quick answers to queries. Although you try saying that 10 times fast. Quick answers to queries about Microsoft Access. May or may not contain questions about actual queries. Although I think we have one on there today. Anyways, let's get to it. Today's first question comes from TXM Moore. He says, how do you approach a two-page form? That is, you have a form in which you are entering a ton of data and you want to break it up into two separate forms, aka page 1 and page 2. Well, there's a lot of things you could do. First, you could just make it a really big form. You can make it a really long form and just scroll down, and as your user's typing, it just, go to the next field and just scrolls down. You could set the form size whatever you want on the screen, but the user can scroll up and down as much as you want. Another thing you could do is use tab controls. Now, when tab controls first came out, I didn't like them because they were kind of buggy, but in recent versions, they've got much better. And you put this tab control on your form, right? And you could put like a contact info, an address block, a more info. So you got the customer information up here, and then all their other, you could put their phone numbers and stuff in here. So tab control works too if you want to switch between different tabs, I guess, inside of the customer form. That's another option. You could make subforms that you can switch between, and in this video I show you how to do that we do a vehicle maintenance database, and you've got the maintenance, you got the vehicle over here, right? You got the maintenance history, and then you got the future maintenance coming up, and those are just two different forms inside of a subform control, and you just change it with the subform's source object property. That requires a tiny little bit of VBA, but this is the method I personally prefer. I like doing this because these can be completely different subforms in here. Or you could use any navigation form that you want. I personally like making a form and then putting buttons on it to go to other forms. You could even set up something like this and make like a wizard, right? Where the first page has just the fields you want, and then on the bottom is a button that opens up the next form. And you make individual forms for it, right? The first one is enter your name and address. You click next, and it goes to another form. And it says, okay, enter in your whatever, banking information. I don't care. Okay. All these forms are still linked to the same table, to the same record, right? But they're just display different information. And you can have forward and backward buttons and all that stuff. So it's all about how you want to do it. If you want to see some more examples, post a comment down below. And maybe if enough people are interested, I'll make a whole separate video just on this topic. All right. Okay. Xavier says, are you going to teach us how to embed images in the HTML message? This comment was on my video on how to send email using CDO, Collaborative Data Objects, in Microsoft Access, where you can send right from the database and not have to go through a program like Outlook. And in the extended cut for the members, I show how to format HTML messages. Well, if you're formatting your message as HTML, then all you have to do is put an image tag in it. This is just a basic HTML command, right? It starts off with image source equals and then a link to your picture. I recommend putting your pictures on your website, or at least a public web folder, right? A Gmail or a Dropbox folder where it's public, because you don't want to be sending images through email. It makes the emails big and slows down the whole system. So just drop your image on your website somewhere or in a public folder and stick an image tag in there. And if you want to hyperlink that, you can too. So that's just knowing a little bit of HTML. I do have an HTML basics course on my website. It's real basic, but I'll put a link to it down below. RalPHP says, I understand that using short text field is good workaround if you're not doing math on a field, but doesn't Access sort numbers incorrectly if they are stored as text? Yes, if you sort a short text field and you've got numbers in it, they're going to sort alphanumerically. All right, so if I have a table and I've got, let's say, an ID, right, and I've got my value, let's call it, and that's a short text field, okay, my table. And if we put some numbers in here, all right, in my value, like 101, 2, 34, 14, whatever, okay, if we sort this field, right-click, sort A to Z, you're going to get that. That's an alphanumeric sort, which looks at it letter by letter. Okay? If you want to sort this numerically, just use a query and convert that over to a number. Right? So you'll create a query and you'll bring in that table, right? My table. Boom. Okay? Bring in whatever you want. And then right here, we're going to say my number is just convert to whatever you want. A long, LNG, CLNG, that's convert to long, my value. Okay, and if you run it now, you see there's numbers. Now here's the big difference. You can see these ones are lined up on the right side of that cell. Let's call it the column. These are on the left. Left tells you that's a text value. Right tells you it's a numeric value. Okay, and now if you sort it, whether you sort it in the query or not, you can sort it right here, right? And now you'll see those sort by the proper number. That's all you got to do. Use a query. Things like, zip codes, phone numbers, social security numbers, I store those as text. They're easier to manipulate, they're easier to work with, they're easier to deal with than actually storing them as numbers. Plus some things like zip codes, you lose that leading 0. But it's real easy to convert it to a number if you want to sort them that way. Okay? And that's just, again, the CLNG function. There's a whole bunch of different type conversion functions. There's convert to bool, byte, currency, date, double, long, whatever you want. Now this video talks about all of them. Lucian says, dude looks like Charlie Sheen. Thanks for the help. Well, I certainly hope you mean the major league, young, handsome, attractive Charlie Sheen, and not the older, winning Charlie Sheen, right? This guy? Yeah, I can see it. Okay, all right. This guy, I don't know. Actually, he's still not that bad looking. He's what, pushing 60? So, not a bad looking guy for his age, all right? I've been getting a lot of emails like this one, a lot of comments like this one. Shaky says, is there any way to receive emails without Outlook? Yeah, it's possible, but it's not easy. I've been using Outlook myself to retrieve emails. I've got my Access server database, right? It sits in the corner. It sends and receives emails. I send through CDO and Gmail, but I receive from Outlook. It's really easy to receive email through Outlook. I cover it in my email seminar. I'll put a link to that down below. But you got to have Outlook for it, and I'm worried that they're going to change it so you can't do that in the future. So I am looking for a solution myself. I know it's got to be possible to connect using Google's API or something like that to connect and pull in emails. But I just haven't done it yet, but I'll be on the lookout for a solution myself. If anybody knows of a good solution, let me know too. That doesn't require having to have an email program. Next up, Elise has a few questions. She says, how do I get access? I use an iMac. My condolences. I believe I can't use this for access, correct? And I do have a Microsoft Surface. Can I use access on that device? First of all, I pick on Mac users a lot, but I do have respect for Apple products. They're just, with Apple, you're kind of in the walled garden, right? It's whatever Apple says you can use, and they're very hard to tinker with and play with. I like PC and Android because you can get in there and get your hands dirty and break stuff, right? With a Mac, it's like, this is what you're using. This is the colors you know. It's like, no. I haven't really used a Mac product since an Apple II in high school. But let's address these questions. First of all, how do you get access? Well, I got a whole video on how you can buy access. There is no free version available like some of the other apps like Word and Outlook and Excel. They've got free versions. There is no free version of access. I currently use the Microsoft Apps for Business, which is $8 a month, which I think for a business application like Access is a steal. Okay, now this was as of October 2022. I don't think the prices have gone up since. I could be wrong. Check Microsoft's website. And they rename stuff all the time. So I might even have a different name by now. But they do definitely still have a version. I recommend the 365 subscription. It's a small monthly fee instead of a big upfront charge. But whatever works for you. But this video explains a lot more. All right. How do you use it on your iMac? Well, you are right. Access by itself does not natively run on a Mac. This question comes up often in our forums, and Alex, my right-hand man, he's got a bunch of different things here. You can, you can use VirtualBox. There's all kinds of things you can do. I'm going to leave this up to Alex. Alex, why don't you put together a video on how to get access to run on your Mac, because you're a Mac user. And, yeah, there's those different options that are available. I just asked ChatGPT to see if it's got any new information, and basically it says, yeah, use a virtual machine, Parallels Desktop, VMware Fusion, VirtualBox. That'll basically create a virtual Windows machine inside of your Mac OS. There's Boot Camp, which dual boots. You can remote access into a Windows PC, if you got a Windows PC running around. There's apparently a program now called Crossover. It says that not all features of access may work perfectly with Crossover, so I don't know about that one. And of course, there's a cloud service. A cloud service is basically a PC in the cloud on the internet, right? You set up your own Windows desktop with whatever applications you want to install, including Access. And this is great even if you are PC users and you want to have a shared Access database up in the cloud that a bunch of people can use. I've been recommending Access Database Cloud for years, and they're fantastic. So that's definitely another option. And as far as using it on your Microsoft Surface, well, yeah, you should be able to. Give it a try. And again, I posted this to ChatGPT just to get its opinion. And the versions of the Surface that run Windows should definitely be able to use it, like the Surface Pro. Some of the other ones, as long as you're not running in Windows S mode, which only allows apps from the Microsoft Store, and Access is not available there. And the Surface Duo and Neo are using Android, so you can't use those. Some of our other users, like Adam, one of our moderators, says he uses it just fine with the Surface. Jeffrey Kraft says, yep. So yeah, as long as it's one of those better Microsoft services, you shouldn't have any problems. Gary asks, I use Microsoft Outlook 365 for my work email. Is there any way to have those emails appended to a database so I can search and or sort them, etc.? Yeah, the easiest way to do that is to send those emails from Access using the techniques that I mentioned earlier with my sending email with CDO. You can also send the emails through Outlook if you want to, although I recommend getting away from that. Can you use Access to pull information in from Outlook? Yeah, you can. If you've already sent the emails from Outlook, you can import them into Access, or you can even attach to those folders in Outlook from Access to look through them. But again, this only works with classic Outlook, not the new Outlook. Okay? And if you're not sure which version of Outlook you got, check this video out. I did a video on an Office Watch article talking about how the new Outlook is not ready. You lose a lot of functionality with the new Outlook about sending emails and stuff especially. So the new Outlook is basically just a kind of like a web version of it. It's not the classic, beautiful Outlook that we've known for decades. This was a comment on YouTube regarding my move it up and down with the keys. So you can use on a continuous form, you can up and down arrow to move like an Excel spreadsheet through your continuous form. And one user said that this is not needed. Go to Options, Client Settings, and change the up-down how it works. Yes, this is correct. You can change how the keys work on your system, but that's only in your client. Okay, if you're distributing a database to everyone else, you'd have to go around to everyone else's machines and make the same change. Okay, whereas if you do it with the move up down keys trick that I show you, it's built into the database and everyone gets the same functionality. So it's all about how you want it to work. Here's a link to that video if you want to check it out. All right, this one's my guys beat me up because I forgot to cover something in the previous quick queries when we were talking about copying and pasting controls. And Sammy says, you can somewhat control where Access will paste. After you've copied the control you want, click on another control and then paste, and Access will paste under the control you clicked on between the copy and paste. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't cover all the tricks in the last video. I know. There's tons of tricks. There's so many tricks. I don't always use all of them myself, so if it's not something that I use on a regular basis, I forget about it. And one of the great things about my job is that I love learning things from you guys too. You guys teach me a lot of cool stuff that I never knew before. Just little like keyboard shortcuts and tricks like that. So let me show you what Sammy's talking about. So if you're in a form, right, and you take this guy and you go copy paste, okay? If you are on this guy and you go copy paste immediately, it goes below it. If you don't have anything selected, it goes up there. Okay? What Sammy's saying is if you want it to go under here, click on that guy first and it puts it under there. Okay? It actually lines up with the label. But right, if you click on, let me delete this guy. Let's say you want to put something on the bottom here. Let's say you click on this, copy. If you click on that and paste, it goes right there. So there's so many little tricks, and I can't cover them all, but that's what quick queries are for, so we can go over all this weird stuff together. So thanks, Sammy. Here's an interesting question in my forums posted by Jerry. Jerry says they have ActiveControl and PreviousControl, right? So ActiveControl tells you what control you're on, like a button you click on or what text box you're sitting in. PreviousControl tells you where you've been, okay? But he says I couldn't find a next control or future control. And sometimes when I think hard about this stuff, my head hurts. Yeah, and not being funny, you can figure out what the next control would be if you're tabbing, right, through the tab order. And in fact, I asked ChatGPT to give me some code, and I have not tested this, but this looks about right. What you could do is you could say, hey, if you click a button or whatever, look through the tab index, because every control on your form has a tab index, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that Access knows where to tab next. Okay, and you can customize that order. I covered tab order in a lot of videos, but this will actually see what's the control with the next tab order. All right, and again, I haven't tested this, but it seems about right. So, yeah, okay. That's definitely possible. I can't think of a reason to do this when it would be useful, but is it possible? Yeah, possible. Here's a great question by William. He says, I have a database I made myself. I'm trying to compact and repair like I was told to do. When I try to compact and repair, I get an error message saying the compact and repair operation has been canceled. You might not have adequate permission to the folder the database is located in. It's on my own laptop. It's my personal database, just used by me. My question is, what can I do to fix this problem? All right. I have a question. Can I put my database in a Google folder to do the compact and repair? All right. That's the problem right there. But there are some things. Obviously, run down the troubleshooter. Make sure it's in a trusted location. Okay. Now, the problem with putting it in a Google Drive folder, okay, is that Google Drive is constantly trying to synchronize whatever's in that folder with its copy in the cloud and your other machines. Okay, so if you're doing a compact and repair while Google's trying to back that file up, it's not going to say exactly that. You don't have adequate permission because the file's open, someone's using it. All right, so you got a couple of options. One thing you could do is go to your Google Drive while it's running. All right, right click on it, go to settings, and then pause syncing. Okay, that will pause Google Drive from trying to make backups of whatever's in your Drive folder. And at that point, you should be able to do your compact and repair. Just remember to make sure you turn it back on. Or the other option is to not store your database in your Google Drive folder. What I personally do is I keep my databases in my C drive in a different folder that's not backed up in my G drive, for example. And then I have my nightly access backup copy my databases into my Google Drive folder for backup. Okay, so don't run your actual Access database out of a Google Drive or a Dropbox or a OneDrive or any of those shared folder type setups. All right, this question comes up so much, I got a whole separate video on it. Do not run Access out of a shared folder like that. Even if you're the only person using it, you can have problems like this. All right, I used to use, I think it was Google Drive. This is going back probably 4 or 5 years. But I used to have an office, and I used to drive, from my house to my office. And it was about a 30-minute drive from Cape Coral to Fort Myers. And in the morning, if I was on my computer, I would have my database open, and it was on my Google Drive, and I'd close it. And then by the time I got to the office in Fort Myers, it had enough time to sync up. It was just a small database file, maybe, a couple hundred megs. And no problems if you're the only person using it. But if you got 2 or 3 people doing that, or the database doesn't sync properly, you're going to have problems. Or if it tries to do something like a compact and repair. So you're better off just not using these things with Access. It's not designed for that. And of course, I like to mention this as much as I can. Make sure you got good backups of your data. Okay? Okay. Backup. This question's from Junaid. He says, I'm having a problem creating a relationship between order T and order detail T with referential integrity and cascade deletes. It says the data in the table violates referential integrity rules. This usually happens when you're missing a parent. Okay, you're missing an order, but you've got records in the order detail table already that are that are linked to a parent that you deleted. Let me show you. All right, here's my TechHelp database, right? I got orders and I got order details. Okay, these all should be matched up. I don't have any global relationships in this database. I don't use them that often, to be honest with you. I prefer to handle stuff like that in my code. But let's say, all right, we've got orders here and we've got order details. Let's say I delete order 1. All right, we got detail items in here, right, for order 1. Those are the 3 line items for order 1. If I delete that order, all right, it lets me do it because I've got no referential integrity. One of the things referential integrity does is it says, everybody on the one side of a one-to-many relationship, you got to have that one record. or you can't have many records. It prevents orphans and widows. Well, it prevents orphans. It doesn't prevent widows. That's a whole separate thing. A widow would be basically an order that doesn't have any line items, which you can check for that too, but it's not quite as easy. I got a whole separate video on that one. But now, if I try to go into relationships and create a relationship between order T and order detail T, right? Or link them by order ID, enforce referential integrity. Okay, hit create and say, can't do it. Right? It violates referential integrity rules because you've got records in the system already that are no bueno. Okay, so you're going to have to go back in there and figure out who's missing what before you can set up that referential integrity. And how do you do that? Well, let's make a query. Create query design. I'll bring in order T and order detail T. Now, the relationship here in the query is formed because Access sees that you've got that and that. They're named the same and they're the same data type, right? They're both numbers. So this is called an ad hoc relationship. It's not an actual system relationship, but Access is like, yeah, these things are probably related, so I'll relate them. Now, bring them both down here. And if you run the query now, you'll see they all match up. What's the problem? Well, remember, a basic inner join like this says all the records from here have to match all the records from here. So I need to be able to see where this might be missing. So I need to make this an outer join. So double click on that guy. And we're going to say I want to see all records from order detail T. I want this one. Show me all the detail items, right? And if this is missing, oh, okay. See, and you get that little arrow pointing that way. It says show me all of these guys and the related one over here. Now if you run this, oh, look at that. You can see there's some ones missing right here. Okay, so now I can go over here and I can say give me criteria is null. And now that'll show you just which orders are missing. So you've got 4 detail items in here that are missing a parent item. Now you can go and fix that. You can figure out what happened to the order. You can add something new. You can delete these line items. However you want to do it. And then once you do that, you'll be able to create your referential integrity. And once you've created the referential integrity, you can't have this problem anymore in the future. Okay? Okay. If you want to learn about referential integrity, go watch this video. I've also got a video on cascade deletes, which I don't like them. I mean, they've got their place sometimes, but be very careful because cascade delete says if you got a relationship set up between like orders and details, that's fine. You delete an order, you want all the line items gone, even though you shouldn't delete stuff. You should archive stuff or mark it, invalid or whatever. But if you've got like a customer related to your orders or related to the context, you accidentally delete that customer, all of his stuff is gone. That's going to mess up your accounting. So be very careful with cascade deletes. I also spend a lot of time with relationships and stuff like that in my Access Expert series, level 1. We go over relational database concepts. We go over referential integrity in Expert level 2, normalization, global relationships, all kinds of cool stuff. And if you want to learn about outer joins, go watch this missing records video. Usually you see this where, you've got a relationship set up between customers and contacts or customers and orders. And you do a query and you're like, I'm not seeing all my customers. Why aren't they showing up in this list? Well, that's because you've got an inner join. So they have to have an order or a contact for you to see them in that list. And that's where you usually set up an outer join. Left join, right join, outer join, inner join, self join, there's all kinds of joins. And of course, I cover all the different kinds of relationships you could possibly want to know in my relationship seminar. Yeah, this is an older image. They're not as cool as my new ones. But this is one of my first seminars I did, but it's classic. And it's got lots of great information in it. All right, so I think that's going to about do it for today. There's your quick queries number 19. I hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time for quick queries number 20, or whenever we decide to come out with it. All right, take care. A special thank you and shout out to our diamond sponsors. First, we have Juan Soto with Access Experts Software Solutions, manufacturing experts specializing in Access and SQL Server. Juan is a 13-time Microsoft Access MVP. You can check them out at accessexperts.com. Another shout out to Sammy Shama from Shama Consultancy. Sammy is a certified Microsoft Office specialist, and he not only offers Access application development, but he also provides one-on-one tutoring services. So if you need someone to hold your hand and help you with your Access project, Sammy is your guy. Check him out at shamaconsultancy.com. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have below. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. Click the bell icon and select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Want to learn more? Click the Show More link below the video to find additional resources and links. YouTube does a pretty good job of hiding it. It's right down there. See this part of the description here, right? The name, the video's up here. There's a little Show More down there, right down the bottom. It's kind of hard to find. But once you click on that, you'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. And YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted like they used to do. But if you'd like to get an email every time I post a new video, click on the link to join my mailing list. And you can pick how frequently to get emails from me, either as they happen, daily, weekly, or monthly. Now, if you'd like to become a paid member of my channel and receive all kinds of awesome perks, click on the Join button. You'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks, including my extended cut videos, access to my code vault, lots of VBA source code in there, template downloads, and lots more. I'll talk more about these perks at the end of the video. Even if you don't want to commit to becoming a paid member and you'd like to help support my work, please feel free to click on the tip jar link. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got some puppies to feed. But don't worry, no matter what, these free tech help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. Now, if you really want to learn Access and you haven't tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, and more. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link down below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? The whole thing, free, 4 hours. Go watch it. And okay, a lot of you have told me that you don't have time to sit through a 4-hour course. So I do now have a quicker Microsoft Access for Beginners video that covers all the basics faster in about 30 minutes. And no, I didn't just put the video on fast forward. But I'll put a link to this down below as well. Now, if you like level 1, level 2 is just $1. That's it, $1. And that's another whole 90-minute course. Level 2 is also free for paid members of any level, including supporters. So if you're a member, go watch level 2. It's free. Okay, want to get your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my Tech Help page and send me your question there. Members get priority, of course. While I do try to read and respond to all of the comments posted below in the comments section, I only have time to go through them briefly a couple of times a month, and sometimes I get thousands of them. So send me your question here on the Tech Help page, and you'll have a better chance of getting it answered. And while you're on my website, be sure to stop by my Access forum. We've got lots of lively conversations about Microsoft Access and other topics. I have a fantastic group of moderators who help me answer questions. Shout out to Alex, Kevin, Scott, Adam, John, Dan, Juan, and everybody else who helps out on the site. I appreciate everything you do. I couldn't do it without you. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course on YouTube. Yeah, I'm on Facebook too, but I don't like Facebook. Don't get me started. Now, let's talk more about those member perks if you do decide to join as a paid member. There are different levels: Silver, Gold, Platinum, and Diamond. Silver members and up get access to all of my extended cut Tech Help videos, one free beginner class every month, and some other perks. Gold members get all the previous perks, plus access to download the sample databases that I build in my Tech Help videos, plus access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions that I use, the code that I build in most of the videos. You'll also get higher priority if you do submit any Tech Help questions. Now, answers are never guaranteed, but you do go higher in the list for me to read them. And if I like your question, you got a good chance of it being answered. You'll also get one free expert level class each month after you've finished the beginner series. Platinum members Get all the previous perks plus even higher priority for tech help questions. You get access to all of my full beginner level courses for every subject. And I cover lots of different subjects like Word, Excel, VBA, ASP, lots of different stuff, not just Access. These are the full-length courses found on my website. You get all the beginner ones. In addition, once you finish the expert classes, you get one free developer class per month. So lots of training. And finally, you can also become a Diamond sponsor. You'll have your name or your company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown on each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by accesslearningzone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you again soon.